Hey everyone, Caleb with Antique Book Collective, and today I'm getting to you guys with reseller rule number 17, and this one is don't be afraid to spend what you must. And the reason why I say this, guys, is some people, especially when you're brand new to this business, you look at some price tags and you're like, okay, I know for a fact I can sell this. I know for a fact I can make 10 times all my money, 100 times all my money. But the problem is, this is a lot more than what I normally spend on, let's say, books, because this is a book channel. I'm just going to use books as an example, but it sort of works with a lot of other things. In fact, it doesn't just have to be a reselling business. It can be a lot of other businesses as well. So the reason why I say this, guys, and of course, this is not financial advice. Consult your own financial consultant. All that jazz. I don't give a rip. But the reason why I say that sometimes you need to just get over your fear and not be afraid of spending a little bit more than usual is because, again, if you're brand new to this, you might not really know what the right price is to spend for some things. Because let's face it, if you just started this business on your own and you hit, like, let's say one garage sale and you bought a whole bunch of books for 10 bucks, like 1,000 books for 10 bucks, and then you go to another place and it's like $10 per book, I mean, you'll be like, what? That's too much money. And of course, this might be a little bit of an exaggerated example, but let's be a little more conservative on it. So for me, where I buy most of my books, it's out in the sticks a little bit more, and I'm spending between 25 cents and $2 for a book. If I drive towards the city, towards Portland, I said Portland, I said it again, if I drive towards that city, though, that should not be named, it ends up being more like $5 per book. I've seen some estate sales, mind you, and they are asking $10 per book. And these aren't even fancy books all the time. If I get used to paying $1 and all of a sudden I'm being asked to pay $10, that's going to be quite the leap. I will not feel comfortable with that. In fact, I've been doing this business for a long time, and I do not feel comfortable with that. That is why I don't drive to that Portland city. I don't like to do stuff there. It costs too much. The people are too rude, all that sort of stuff. I would rather drive out to the sticks where I can get better deals, where the selection of books are better, where the books are worth more, all that sort of stuff. I've gotten into that in other videos talking about why I drive out to the sticks, to the country, all that sort of stuff. It's because the books are so much better for what I like to sell. Of course, there are some very valuable books in the city. Do not get me wrong there. However, I find those are going to be fewer and further between. When you're in the country, people just tend to read more, contrary to what all the city people think. Country people are normally a lot more educated than them and smarter than them and more well-rounded than them. Let me just say that I will have hate in the comments. I don't give a rip. You guys can cry all you want in the comments if you feel like I insulted you, because I'm here to insult people, I guess. That's my channel, all about insulting people and talking about old books. Obviously, sarcasm there. But with all that said, there have been instances where I drive to the city, which honestly has not been very often whatsoever in the recent memory for me, but I do go there every now and then. And also in the country, I go to places and sometimes they ask a lot more for books. However, the books they ask more money for oftentimes are going to be worth a whole lot more. Of course, that is anything but a rule. There are so many exceptions to the rule, including those estate sale companies. I'm sure you guys, if you've done this for any amount of time, you know there are estate sale companies that will look at everything and they will look up every individual price on eBay and price everything accordingly. Other times, they pull numbers out of their butts and they're like, oh, this book is 150 years old? Well, it's $150 then. End of story. And you're just looking at them like, ma'am, it's the title page. That's the entire thing that you have for this book that you're selling. It's not worth 150 bucks. So there are going to be some people that just price stuff insanely, but by and large, from what I've seen at least, when you see something that's priced a little bit higher than what you're used to, odds are, in my opinion, again, my experience, normally those books are going to be more worth the higher price. So the reason why I'm doing this video is, for me, I've learned that I need to not be afraid of spending a little bit more. Of course, I'm not comfortable with it, so you don't have to be comfortable to necessarily do it, but end of the day, it can help you get some really good sales in your business. And let's just use my book business for an example. I have some books that are a little more costly. So right here, I'm selling this set of Bible encyclopedias for 155 bucks. I just had a buyer reach out and they're interested, and because I have these books, they're like, yeah, very interested. Let me get my money to order these things. But while I'm waiting to do that, before I buy, I'm going to check out all your other books, see if there's anything else that interests me or might interest a friend of mine, that sort of thing. So when you have a little bit more of expensive books, and again, 155 bucks, it's not insanely expensive, but it is more on the expensive-ish side of things. But when you have something like that, you sort of attract a clientele that's a little more apt to buy more books, especially I find when you're buying sets of books. For some reason, if someone buys a set of books, I guess that means they probably have more space on their shelf, which means there's other books they might buy while they are out and about and shopping. So that could be the reason. I'm not entirely sure. Everyone's doing their own thing. But the reason why I say that is, again, that's a little on the more costly side of things, and you guys might find, for myself, I have found that the more expensive books, you usually pay a little bit more for them as well. So yes, it can be a bigger hit for you in your pocket when you first buy it, but once it sells, it can be a nice bonus as well. And again, those people might buy some of your other books, which you more often than not paid a little bit less for. So for me, I find that the books that you pay a little bit more money for can be a good, maybe not loss leader is the best example, but it sort of works. But let's just say you're not making the same amount of profit as you otherwise could be in your business compared to all the other books that you normally are used to buying. That at least is what I have found. In addition to all that, that is just for sourcing, but let's face it, there are other things that this totally applies to. So if you are afraid to spend a little bit of money to buy a storage unit or rent a storage unit to run your business out of course you have to check if that's allowed with that storage unit, but it's $150 a month. Ooh, that's a lot of money. Is that really worth it? I don't have $150 to just throw away for no reason. Can I really swing that? Well, pause and let's just think for a few moments. Okay, you don't have enough room in your house to sell them, continue selling stuff for your business. If you do not sell out your entire inventory that's at your house, you can't source anymore. But sourcing more stuff and listing more stuff is what drives your eBay business and keeps your eBay business growing. So it's sort of a catch-22. It's like, if I do that, it's going to cost more money, but it's going to take that if I want to keep on getting sales, that sort of thing. You're like, oh no, what do I do? What do I do? Well, let's think about the numbers really quick. So again, this set of books selling for $155 plus shipping. If I sell that, that almost pays for your storage unit on its own. And the reason why I say almost, and the storage unit again was $150, is the reason why I say almost is the eBay fees that are attached. So I'll have to sell this and then another, $50 book or something like that. That pays for the whole storage unit for that whole month. Then you fill that storage unit with a bunch of other books that you listed. That's a lot of new listings. That's a lot of new business. That's a lot of extra sales. So let's just say that you have 1% of your books sell every single week. If you're able to multiply the amount of books that you have by 10 because you got that storage unit, you potentially 10x'd your sales. That's pretty nice. In addition to that, normally when you list a whole bunch of stuff on eBay, you're going to get a lot of sales right off the bat. So let's say, better case scenario, you sell 5% of that brand new inventory, which I think is more than possible. In fact, I've had times where I have listed, and I'm not listing my books at bargain basement prices, guys. I actually do list a lot of my books a little bit higher than a lot of the competition. So obviously that 5% sales rate might be more, might be less for you guys, but I've actually had times where, again, listing my books not necessarily for the cheapest out there. I've had it so, I think the best I ever did was I listed 10 books in one sitting, and I want to say like 8 books of that sold like within 2 days or something like that. So it was pretty quick turnaround on some of those books, and I think some of those might even been sets of books, and it was a whole lot of revenue that I got for basically no work. I mean, that wasn't a whole lot of listings to have them turn around so quick. So that is something that you guys can find when you do that. Of course, this can also apply to, let's say you're buying a bookstore from some old timer that you have talked to, and you have your own bookstore and they've helped you out, and they're like, I'm ready to retire. I'll cut you a bargain because I like you, kid. You got good guts, kid. Something like that. I don't know. I feel like all old people that like you tend to call you kid when at least when you're at my age. But let's say they are looking at you and they're like, I'll sell you my bookstore. I'll tell you what, $6,000, something like that. And if you're brand new to this, you're like, oh, pooh, that's a whole lot of money. I can't afford that. But if you've done this for a while, you look at all the bookshelves they have and you're like, I can get like a quarter of your store if I sourced good for $6,000. You're giving me all these extra books for free. You know for a fact they're doing you a solid in that case. Of course, I'm not saying everyone that wants to sell you their business is doing you a favor, but that is something to keep in mind. Sometimes it does take money to make money. That saying exists for a reason. So with that said, guys, again, I just want to encourage you, don't be afraid to spend what you must to grow your business, to start your business, anything like that. It can be scary. I absolutely believe that. I absolutely understand that a lot of people do get scared with that. However, at the end of the day, greatness is not achieved by people who get scared and stay scared. It's all about the courageous people. There's a reason why society encourages, or at least used to encourage, courage. It's because it's the people that go out, it's the trailblazers that do the great things and prepare the way for everyone else. And make the money, all that jazz. So I encourage you guys to act with a little bit of courage. Of course, do not act recklessly. There's a difference between courage and stupidity, so don't be stupid, but please feel obliged to yourself to act with a little bit of courage so you can leave yourself in a better situation than where you are today. With that said and done, thank you again for watching. Be sure to subscribe right up there, watch another video right there, and I will see you guys in the next one.